All right, quick trip up to the Northwoods here. Jeff Van Remortel, WDH Guide Service. Jeff, it's just about September. Yep. You know, it seems like I like to come visit you during that time. We got changing conditions probably, as you can see right now. Even it's changed since yesterday. What should anglers be looking for if they're getting on the water anytime soon?
Yeah, so I mean, this is really a great time of year. You know, a lot of times we talk about how, you know, late August or, you know, mid to late August can be one of the best times for big fish, and that's usually true. And there were some nice fish caught this year during that time frame, but we didn't really have the weather to go with it. And now, as you get into September, a lot of times when you don't get that, we had a couple of days that were really good, and it was like if you were out on that day, big fish are moving. But other than that, it's been a lot of like those 3-footers, maybe a low 40 here and there. But there's definitely fish being caught, but it hasn't been that crazy gangbusters, at least not up here. Other places it has been, but in northern Wisconsin with the weather pattern we've had, which is basically calm and clear, it's been tight windows, and a lot of those bigger fish have been a lot harder to get in the bag. So when we get that, a lot of times that early September, you know, coming into Labor Day here, a lot of times this is going to be when they really fire off.
Right. And for guys that are getting out, you know, depth-wise, what should they be looking for? They should be looking for shallow weeds. Is that kind of the picture here? Yeah,
you can expect as these water temperatures start to drop. We're in the first day of this cool down, or just getting this cool down. We got out for casting maybe 2 hours this morning here. I'm on my way out of town. You were on your way up, so we moved a couple fish, hooked one, lost it. But we had some action. The fish were there. We didn't have any moon on our favor, so moon's not for another 2-3 hours. But they were moving a little bit already. And again, as you get these cloudy conditions with some turbulent weather coming through, these fish are going to come back to the weeds in the lakes where they've been using the basin a lot. And the fish that are in those weeds are going to activate. There's always those fish that are in there anyway. But a lot of times this is the kind of weather you're looking for to activate them. Any of these cooling nights, as we get into September, get into that mid 70-degree range for a high during the day, or even the upper 60s. And then those lows, when those lows start to get into the upper 40s, which again, sometimes it comes late August. This year it really hasn't. We had 1 or 2 days like that where it got cool, but then it kind of beefed back up, and everything's been holding that 75, 77-degree range midday, depending on what you're on. Maybe dipping down a little lower than that, depending on the size of the water. But that gradual cool down is looking to be starting up very quickly here, and it's going to bring some really good fishing with it for sure.
And so we're hoping to get this video out before Labor Day. For Labor Day weekend, obviously there's going to be a bunch of anglers on the water. Yeah, for sure. What kind of baits should they be looking at?
Yeah, that bucktail bite's going to really come back and resurge. It's been kind of a pretty good year for bucktails, just on and off. Even on some of that flat column stuff, you know, the 1 or 2 bites a day you're getting, and one comes on a bucktail, even when it feels more like jerkbait rubber weather. So it's really sustained, and I expect that to get going really good. So your classic, you know, top water, blades over the weeds. When you get, especially with these cloudier conditions like this, or in a cool down, especially early and late in the day, if you have, you know, one of those big cool downs overnight. But again, the jerk baits, your Suics, SRJs, Phantoms, you know, glide baits, jerk baits. This is that classic time of year where these fish are going to really start putting on the feed bag, especially again up north. You got to remember, if you're coming here from, you know, Madison or Chicago or somewhere further south, I mean, this is it for us. Fall's starting. Like September 1 is pretty much, I mean, we're done. We probably won't get another 80-degree day. We're done. It's a day or two before it's late August here, 29th, 30th, somewhere in there. And it's almost done. So it's going to be early fall here, and it's going to be early fall here very shortly.
Yeah, that's what I always say. September 1st in the Northwoods is pretty much fall in my
That's
opinion.
about it, yeah. And sometimes more than others. We didn't get that really big cool down in August this year. Normally we get a really, you know, something more like this, and you get that substantial cool down maybe first, second week of August. And this year we had a little cooling trend, but it wasn't that low of a valley, like where it gets to the point where you're bundled up and the water temps get knocked back a bit, and then it kind of rebuilds and levels off. It's been very stable for the better part of the last month.
Sure. So there you go. Jeff's giving me a few tips on how to put a couple muskies in the net this coming weekend and into the early part of September. You know, this can be an awesome time. I mean, as a muskie angler, this is the day that you look forward to getting on the water. You know, like September is the month if you're going to pick one, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, October can be great. November can even be good yet too, depending upon how the weather plays out. So get on the water. Hope you catch a few fish.